Welcome back, Derek. It's great to have you here.
Oh, goodness gracious. It's wonderful to be back and not in a car.
Not in a car. Yes. Yes. And we're coming down to the end of summer here. People are looking at the rest of 2024, planning for 2025. And Derek, one of the things that you and I both hear from advisors all the time when they're thinking about, like, I want to be creative, I want to build a brand, I want to do podcasts and videos and start my own business. What's that like one sort of defeatist sentence that they all say?
Oh, I can boil it down to a single word: compliance. Compliance is where creativity goes to die, is kind of the shared sentiment throughout the industry. But we're going to take a look at an extraordinary example today from Aaron Buchner about what it looks like when you simply ask the question and get compliance involved in the process. What really clever, creative workarounds can happen. So I'm really excited about this one.
Should we take a look at what we're going to be looking at? Because
Oh,
it's a fun
totally.
thing to have up there.
Oh, look at
This.
that.
How amazing is that? Derek, how did he get to this branding? Because in all honesty, when you
Yeah,
shared this with me, at first I was like, there's no way. There is no
right.
way. And you can't see, but his URL, this is the top of his website.
Mhm.
His URL is prickfree.com.
Which, let's be honest, everyone, you would think was just never going to fly. Without getting into too many particulars, I think most of you, just in looking at this, are thinking, okay, the impossible has just happened. That's really kind of what the process entailed. And just to kind of keep this relatable to everyone, this is the result of an advisor coming up with an extraordinarily creative idea, saying a thing that so many people are thinking both in and outside of the industry. This advisor took the bold step of going to compliance with this brilliant idea and risking what most of us would think would be a hard no. And yet here we are. We're looking at it, and Aaron is continuing to run with this, both in terms of his advisory and the podcast that he hosts. So, one of, I think, the key takeaways here, at least from my perspective, is ask the question, take the brilliant idea you've had to compliance, and expect the no that you're going to get, but be persistent and follow up with, hey, this is an idea that I'm really wedded to. I think that because this is edgy, because it does things differently, there's a lot of value here. What can we do to make this work? And that's one of the things I think we're going to talk about here, segue into, is how did Aaron make this work?
Yeah. And Derek, I think one of the first things that I always think when advisors are like, oh, compliance says no, I'm like, we were all kids.
Yeah.
We all had 1,000 moments as kids where you go ask one parent to buy you something or to have money or to go somewhere, and it would just be an instant no. Right? You'd be like, why? Sometimes you'd go to the other parent and say, do you get a different answer? We've all done that with customer service. Sometimes if you don't get an answer
Yeah.
you like, hang up, try again, see if you get a different answer. And I don't say that to tease compliance, but that really is kind of the approach, right? You need that persistency of like, I really want this thing. I want this to happen. Keep asking, keep talking about, oh, can you compromise? My dad and I used to always play Let's Make a Deal, right? So whenever I'd ask for something, he'd go, well, let's make a deal. And so it'd be doing chores or something. That really is kind of hopefully a slightly more fun way of looking at collaborating with compliance.
Yeah. Well, and you said a couple of things there that are really important for us to remember. One, collaboration. And that's one of the things that allowed Aaron to run with this idea, is that he involved compliance in the process. Again, it was not uh, 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 it was not an adversarial approach. I think that's important too, because you hear the word no so often, that can lead to resentment and frustration. The sooner you involve compliance in the process, the more compliance becomes a stakeholder and an advocate for you. And the easier it's going to be for them, even if the initial answer is, there is no way this is going to work. There's the opportunity there for them to start thinking, okay, this shouldn't work, but how can we make it work? And one of the things that you're seeing here up in the upper left-hand corner of the homepage of Aaron's site is the word cactus. And that was the workaround, everybody. Prick-free financial advice. One of the reasons this works, and one of the reasons that Aaron was successful in engaging his compliance team, was that they were able to draw on what's called connotative language, right?
There's one of your
Prick-free.
big Scrabble words, Derek.
Yep. Prick-free can mean a bunch of things. And Aaron and compliance were able to work together to figure out one of the ways in which this could fall within the parameters of compliance. Every time prick free shows up, you're going to see the word cactus, right? So gives you the opportunity to play on one of the other meanings. And that's all connotative language means, is a word can mean more than one thing. This is an absolutely brilliant use of connotative language and a wonderful lesson for all of us, both on the advising side and the marketing side, of what's possible when you get creative and work together.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I was thinking about with compliance, they're people. They're people
Yeah.
too, just like us, right? They do not have an easy job to do. And
Oh, well
especially if they're
said.
working with a whole lot of advisors. When I had my own financial planning firm, I was my compliance. I was very,
Yep.
very easy to work with. But if you are part of a broker dealer or a larger RIA, then they're working with a lot of people. And here's the thing that I see time and again, especially with video, is they'll go and say, hey, I want to do videos. I want to launch a YouTube channel, right? Compliance says no, because in all honesty, that is kind of the easiest thing to do. And I
Yeah.
think one of the reasons that they do say no in conversations I've had is because they will go, work with someone. They'll do 1 or 2 or 3 videos and then never do a video again.
Yeah.
So again, going back to that like parent-child relationship, thinking about, you kind of really do have to prove that you want this.
Yeah.
And so again, involving them early. And so I tell people that whenever they join, one of my workshops, or they're just reaching out and they want to do video, I'm like, let compliance know, right? And then
Yeah.
just start doing little videos that maybe you don't even intend to put out there, but so they can start to see, you're not running afoul of compliance. You're not out there, promising stock returns, that you're doing it for real good reasons in growing your business and operations and everything, but sticking with it. I think that's a really, really big thing, is it's not a one and done. It was a really true collaborative process. And then that builds the trust so that, I'm sure he did the branding first and was like, hey, I'm going to launch a podcast, right? You've already worked together. You already know Aaron's intentions. You already know what he's trying to build there. It just makes it a lot easier.
Oh, it absolutely does. And again, getting back to the point you made, when people know they're working with other people, everything changes, right? The emotional intelligence you bring, the creative engagement, that sense of excitement. I mean, let's be honest. That is also a word people don't often associate with compliance, but I can tell you, this team had to be excited about being able to pull this
Yeah.
off, because this shouldn't have gone off the ground. And yet, again, here we are, we're looking at it, and Aaron continues to do a phenomenal job of running with the idea and really, really leaning into what is, at first glance, one of the most arresting taglines that I've seen in quite some time.
And the last thing I want to say, we just have like a minute or two
Yeah.
left here, Derek, is the other thing that really got me when we first went to his website. I kind of noticed this, and then shout out to Nikki Clark, who we had on the show last week, is the fact that, again, this is when you go to his homepage, this is above the fold. This is what you
Yeah.
see right there. It's his legs
Yeah.
and not his face.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Again, it in many ways, it upends convention, and that the more of that we see, the more people outside of the industry are going to gravitate to advisors and all of the benefits, rewards, everything that they provide. The more of that happens, the better off we all are.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So we would love to hear from all of you. Comment below on social media. Let us know, what have you maybe tried to get through compliance and didn't work? Or better yet, what did you get
Yeah.
through compliance? Like, we would love to see more examples like this. And Derek, I love that point of like, it made their jobs more fun, right? Because again, they have
Yeah.
just kind of a lot of stuff coming at them all the time, right? You're like, oh my gosh, it's
Yeah.
this again, it's this again. Love you, advisors. A lot of you are terribly boring, right? So they're reviewing a lot of boring stuff. So I love that it was like, oh, hey, let's be creative, think outside the
Yeah.
box, collaborate with this great guy trying to do something cool. Makes it fun for everyone.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And again, getting back to one of the things that Nikki is always reminding us of, finance should be fun.
Oh, yes. 100%. Then let's end there on that. Any final thoughts, Derek?
Oh, goodness. I just can't wait for next week already.
All right. We'll be announcing that one soon. We'll be looking at what that is. Again, if you guys have any examples or things that you did that didn't work that you want us to review in an upcoming episode, this is all about helping all of you watching. Thank you all for being here today. And Derek, again, so good to have you back.
Oh, goodness. Great to be here. And again, I